The challenge begins. The twin suns hung low over the rocky hills of Tarvac 6, painting the sky in deep orange and violet. Strange flying creatures circled above the ruins, massive alien structures buried halfway in the sand. These ruins were ancient, sacred, and completely silent for hundreds of years. A small spaceship landed near the edge of the site. Dust flew into the air as the landing gears touched down. The door opened, and a human stepped out. His name was Jack Harper. Jack was an engineer from Earth. He wore simple gear and carried a small toolkit. To the aliens watching him from a distance, he looked unimpressive. No armor, no body enhancements. Just an average human. Most of them stared with quiet judgment. One alien girl, Liraya, stood with her arms crossed, eyes sharp and mocking. She was tall, elegant, and from one of the oldest noble houses on the planet. Her skin shimmered with faint gold patterns, and her eyes glowed softly in the shade. "So this is the brilliant human your council invited?" she said, smirking. "He looks like he brought a lunchbox instead of tools." The others chuckled. Jack simply smiled and nodded politely. "I brought what I need," he said. Elder Varn, the chief researcher, stepped forward. "Jack, we appreciate your coming. This site is known as the core chamber. It has not responded to any of our scientists for generations. We believe it's a kind of control room, but we don't know how to open it." Jack looked around at the symbols etched into the stone. Alien runes spiraled along the walls, and one large circular device sat in the center completely inactive. Liraya scoffed. "We've tried energy scans, telepathic codes, even psychic links. If hundreds of our best minds couldn't activate it, I doubt a human can." Jack walked slowly toward the mechanism, running his hand lightly across the cold surface. He didn't speak. He studied, thought, listened to the silence. "Do you even know what you're doing?" Liraya asked again, growing annoyed. "I don't," Jack said honestly. "But maybe that's the point." The elder raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Jack crouched beside the mechanism, removed a tiny scanner from his pouch, and tapped it gently against a glowing crack in the stone. A soft chime echoed. He didn't force anything. He didn't overload the system. He listened. After a long pause, he touched a single small triangle on the base of the circle. It blinked, then faded. Nothing. Liraya laughed. "Was that it? I thought humans were supposed to be full of surprises." Jack stood up slowly and backed away from the device. "Sometimes the surprise takes a second." Suddenly, the ground rumbled. The circle in the center lit up with golden light. Symbols began to move on their own. A low hum echoed through the ground, and the wind picked up around the ruins. Stones shifted. Dust lifted. The mechanism was alive, the researchers gasped. Liraya stepped back, eyes wide. "What did you do?" Jack looked just as surprised. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I think it worked." Massive doors behind the circle slid open with a loud grinding sound. A staircase appeared, leading deep underground into darkness filled with green lights. A cool mist rolled out. From below, everyone was frozen. Liraya stared at Jack, her pride cracking. This has never happened before." The elder spoke softly. "In all our time, no one has ever opened the core chamber. You did it. Just like that." Jack nodded slowly. "Maybe I was just lucky." But deep down, he felt something strange, as if the mechanism had recognized and called to him. Liraya didn't speak. She looked at him with a new expression, not mockery, not pride, but curiosity. For the first time, she wondered. What is this human, really? The first activation. Jack's boots echoed with each step as he walked slowly down the ancient staircase. Behind him, the green lights on the walls flickered like they hadn't been lit for centuries. The air was cold, filled with dust and energy. Liraya followed, keeping a short distance. She was silent now, but her eyes were sharp, watching every move Jack made. This time, There was no laughter on her lips, only questions in her mind. How could a human trigger it? Not even our most powerful elders could, she whispered to herself. The stairs ended at a wide underground chamber. It was round, with tall crystal pillars that pulsed softly. In the center was a floating orb, glowing blue, spinning slowly in the air. Jack took a step toward it. A sudden voice echoed in the chamber. Not male or female, not loud, but it filled the mind. Guardian signature accepted. System reactivation begins. The floor vibrated gently. Light patterns danced across the walls. The orb shot a beam upward, and holograms appeared above there. Heads, images of stars, ships, planets, and humans. Liraya gasped. That can't be right. One of the holograms showed a battle in space. Human warriors stood beside ancient alien species, including her own. They fought together, side by side, against a dark enemy. Jack was frozen in place. He stared at the images, confused. These records are from before the fall, Liraya said slowly. This is older than our entire empire. The orb spun faster. Earth origin DNA detected, partial control granted. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a stone platform with alien runes and a glowing handprint. Liraya stepped back. Are you going to touch it? Jack didn't answer. He stepped onto the platform and placed his hand inside the glow. The lights dimmed. The ground shook again. And then, a deep hum started rising from the floor, as if a great machine below was waking up after sleeping for 1,000 years. The orb spoke again. System core awakening. Trial protocol in progress. Before Jack could move, the floor under him dropped. He disappeared into darkness. Jack! Liraya shouted, running forward, but it was too late. The hole sealed shut. Jack hit the ground hard, but safe inside a large metal room. It was round, with glowing red lines and floating drones hovering silently above. A voice echoed in his mind again. Begin test sequence 1, survival protocol. The drones came alive. They flew toward him fast, lasers blinking. Jack rolled out of the way, grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground and stood up. He wasn't a soldier, but he had instincts. He had trained for survival. Not in war, but in life. The first drone charged. Jack ducked, swung the pipe, and hit it midair. It sparked and fell. Another one shot a beam. Jack dove behind a small energy shield that popped up from the floor. The system was watching his choices, testing his reactions. Up above, Liraya stared at a giant screen that showed everything. She couldn't look away. The human who once looked like a fool now stood alone in an alien battle chamber, and he was winning. Back inside, Jack defeated the last drone. The red lights turned green. Test passed. Human shows high adaptability. Phase 2 authorized. Jack dropped the pipe, breathing hard. What is this place? He muttered. A door opened in front of him, revealing another glowing hallway. This one full of symbols he couldn't read. But he walked forward anyway, because deep down, Jack had a feeling this place had been waiting for someone like him. Secrets of the mechanism. The hallway pulsed with blue light, like the veins of a sleeping creature. Jack stepped carefully across the smooth floor, his shadow dancing on the walls. Every few meters, the walls changed, projecting images of old wars, forgotten species, and humans. Always humans. It felt like walking through a museum from another universe, but one where he was part of the story without knowing how. Jack paused in front of a wall that showed a symbol glowing brightly. It looked like Earth. Around it were figures of humans standing beside towering aliens, arms raised in alliance. What is this place? He whispered. Behind the wall, gears shifted. A small cube rose from the floor. It floated to Jack, who caught it in surprise. The moment his fingers touched it, lines of alien script scrolled across the walls, and then, somehow they changed. He could read them. This is the memory vault. You are now connected. Jack blinked. Connected to what? Suddenly, he heard a loud mechanical thud behind him. He turned fast, expecting danger. Instead, Lyria stood there, breathing hard. You're alive. Jack gave a small smile. Thanks for checking. She ignored the sarcasm. Her eyes scanned the room quickly, then froze on the writing. You can read that? She asked, shocked. Jack nodded. Yeah, I don't know how. It just changed. Lyria stepped closer slowly. That's impossible. You're not one of us. This script is written in high-core Tarvaxian. Not even all of our elders can read it. Guess the system disagrees, Jack said. They moved deeper into the memory vault together. Jack activated another panel with the cube. A hologram of a galaxy appeared between them, stars blinking, planets circling. Then a line traced from one planet to another. This is a map, Lyria whispered. Jack touched one blinking red dot. It expanded, showing images of weapons, ships, and a glowing ring. A wormhole gate, Lyria said in shock. Those were destroyed long ago. But this one, it still exists, Jack said. It says it's locked but can be opened. Lyria looked at him carefully now. Jack, I think this place was not made by humans, but it was made for humans. Jack looked surprised. Why would aliens do that? She hesitated before replying. A long time ago, we had stories old. Myths. They spoke of a time when humans and the 5 great races worked together. The humans vanished. No one believed they were ever real. But I'm real, Jack said. She stared at him. You're more than that. You're the key. The vault suddenly shook. Alarms blared. A red light filled the space. Security breach detected. Initiating defense sequence. Jack grabbed Lyria's arm and pulled her behind a console. Did I touch something wrong? She shook her head. No. Something is triggering the system from outside. Something dangerous. The vault opened another door, revealing a glowing staircase leading up. The voice returned. Guardian and witness must proceed. Final verification required. Guardian and what? Jack asked. Witness, Lyria said, stunned. That's what they used to call royal observers during ancient awakenings. They looked at each other. For once, no mocking. No pride. Only the same thought in both minds. What had they truly awakened? The trial room, the door slid open with a hiss, revealing something neither of them expected. A sky, not the dark, metal ceiling of a ruin, but a sky filled with stars, hanging above a massive open arena. It was underground, yet impossibly large. Like a hidden world buried beneath the surface. Jack stepped out first. Eyes wide, the ground beneath his feet was solid metal, but it felt alive. Each step triggered lights and ancient glyphs. Around the edge of the circular arena were towers, each one projecting ghostly figures. They looked like judges from a long-lost court. Lyria followed behind, whispering in awe. This is a trial room. Jack looked at her. What kind of trial? One used only for legends, she said. Stories say this place tests the soul of a chosen one. Not just strength, but heart, purpose, and truth. A loud sound echoed across the arena like metal scraping metal. At the far end, a massive door rose from the ground. From the shadow stepped a giant machine. It had the shape of a warrior 8 feet tall, arms like steel blades, a single glowing eye. It raised its hand. A spear of pure light formed in its grip. Trial initiated, the voice boomed. Human, prepare. Jack blinked. You've got to be kidding me. Lyria ran toward the edge, placing her hands on the glass field that separated the arena from the observation deck. She screamed, Don't fight it. It's too strong. This is meant to defeat you. But Jack didn't run. Instead, he closed his eyes. He remembered every survival drill back on Earth, every engineering puzzle, every time he fixed something with only instinct and junk. and he remembered what the machine had called him, Guardian. The mech charged. Jack dodged left, rolled behind a pillar, and grabbed a loose chunk of metal. Not a weapon, but better than nothing. The machine swung. Jack ducked under the glowing blade and struck its leg with the chunk. Sparks flew, but the thing didn't stop. The judges above watched silently. The machine raised its arm for a final strike. Suddenly, the floor beneath it opened. The mech fell into a pit of light. Vanishing. Silence. Trial paused, the voice said. Outcome, incomplete. Result, human chose defense over destruction. Evaluating. Lariah stared, stunned. He didn't win, she said softly. But he didn't lose either. The judges above slowly began to nod, ghostly movements, but clear. Compassion detected. Human shows mercy. Emotional stability. High. Phase 2 unlocked. A door behind Jack opened. He turned toward it, panting. Lariah ran down to meet him. I thought you were going to die, she said. Jack gave a weak smile. Yeah, me too. They stepped through the door together. Inside was a tall crystal, glowing faint blue. The AI spoke. Again. Only one with the will of balance can access the vault of control. Jack looked at Lariah. You think that's me? She nodded slowly. I don't just think it. I know it. Jack reached toward the crystal, but just before he touched it, the entire chamber shook violently. Far away, something massive had just landed on the surface of the planet. Lariah's communicator buzzed. High command to Lariah. Unknown vessel. Detected. It's not ours. It's single quotes S. Old. Very old. Jack and Lariah looked at each other. Whatever was coming, it wasn't friendly. The alien revelation above the ruins. The sky cracked. A sound like thunder, but deeper, like a giant breathing in the clouds, shook the planet. From orbit, a dark, ancient-looking ship broke through the atmosphere. Its hull was covered in black. Scars and strange red lights blinked like eyes. It didn't send signals. It didn't ask permission. It simply hovered, casting a massive shadow over the temple grounds. Far below, inside the ancient vault, Jack stared at the glowing crystal. He hadn't touched it yet. Lariah's voice broke the silence. That ship, it's not from any known empire, not from ours. Not from yours. Jack stepped back from the crystal. Then who is it from? She slowly turned toward him. There's only one answer. She touched her communicator, and a holographic screen appeared. Grainy images showed the ship floating above the site, motionless, yet terrifying. That, she said, pointing at the vessel, matches the descriptions from the Forbidden's records. We thought it was just legend. But that's a vessel from the Hollow Empire. Jack frowned. Never heard of it. Lariah's tone dropped to a whisper. That's because they erased their enemies, completely. They were the ones your kind once fought alongside us to defeat. Jack's heart pounded. This wasn't just a vault. It was a warning system. Lariah nodded. Yes, and now that you've activated it, they know we're awake. Jack finished. Suddenly, the crystal pulsed. A soft voice spoke, calmer this time, older, almost human. Guardian and witness confirmed. Access granted to core memory. The chamber around them changed. The walls disappeared, revealing a full 360-degree hologram. A scene played out. A battlefield in space. Thousands of ships, human, alien, and mechanical, fighting in perfect coordination. In the middle was a giant black ship, the same as the one now above them. A narrator's voice echoed. The hollow came from the edge of known space, consuming all memory, all life. Only when humans joined the circle of races did the tide turn. But the cost was high, so the vault was sealed, and the humans vanished. Lariah whispered. Vanished? Jack was silent. He stared at the image of a human ship exploding, sacrificing itself to destroy a hollow war station. The voice continued. A chosen guardian was left behind. one whose blood would awaken the vault when the enemy returned. Jack slowly stepped back. That's me, isn't it? Lyraya didn't answer. She didn't have to. Outside, the hollow ship began releasing black scout pods. They hit the ground and sank like insects into the sand. The command center at Lyraya's capital was in panic. They're burrowing. They're searching for the vault. We have no weapon strong enough unless the mechanism is reactivated. Back inside, Jack turned to Lyraya. I didn't ask for this, he said. No guardian ever did, she replied. But we need you now. He looked at the crystal again. Its glow pulsed gently, like it was breathing, waiting for him. Jack took a deep breath, then reached out. This time, his hand didn't pass through Dot. It was accepted. The light exploded around him. Images, codes, blueprints, maps. Knowledge filled his mind, not just machines, but how to feel them. How to connect with them. He could sense the city's buried defenses, the sky towers, the orbital shields. All sleeping, but now they stared. Lyraya gasped. The vault. It's waking up. Jack opened his eyes. They glowed faint gold. For just a moment, he looked at her and said, with quiet confidence, I can feel everything. The warning the storm came without wind. Clouds spiraled unnaturally around the dark hollow ship in the sky. The world beneath it grew silent, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Inside the vault, Jack stood still. The crystal faded, and the glow in his eyes disappeared slowly. He staggered for a moment, overwhelmed. Lyraya caught his arm. What did it show you? Jack's voice was distant. Everything, where their ships are, what they want, how close they are to finding us. He turned toward the ancient walls. And what we need to do to stop them. Above ground, the first hollow drones erupted from beneath the sand. Black, spiked creatures with red glowing eyes. They moved like insects, dozens of legs clattering, tearing through research equipment and alien machinery. The defense teams fired plasma shots, but the weapons barely slowed the things down. They're scanning. A soldier yelled. They're looking for the vault. From deep below, a mechanical sound began to rise, a low rumble, like an ancient engine waking after 1,000 years. Back in the vault, Jack stepped onto the center platform again. I need to activate the core grid, he said. Lyraya's face was tense. That system controls the planetary defense towers. If you make a mistake, I won't, Jack said. He touched the console. The vault answered instantly. Core grid online. Initiating planetary link. Above the ruins, giant pillars slowly rose from the ground. Tall towers made of ancient alien stone and shining metal. Each one hummed with energy. They had been buried for centuries. Now they were waking up, but not without a price. The hollow ship responded. A long beam of red light dropped from its belly, melting the sand, burning into the soil like a drill. It wasn't just searching now. It was attacking, Jack grimaced. The towers aren't ready. We need more time. Lyraya turned to the system console. Then let me help. She placed her hand next to his. The system paused. Dual input confirmed. Witness assisting Guardian. The energy flow doubled. Jack looked at her, surprised. Lyraya smirked faintly. Don't look at me like that. I'm not letting you save my world alone. Together, they poured data and commands into the system. Old satellites blinked back online. Underground bunkers unlocked. The planetary shield grid began charging. Still, time was running out. A massive tremor hit the vault. Hollow drones had found the outer wall. Jack looked up. If they break through, they won't, Lyraya said, but even she didn't sound confident. Suddenly, the crystal core glowed again, and the system spoke. Warning, enemy override attempt detected. Foreign signal corrupting outer defenses. Jack clenched his fists. They're trying to shut us down from the outside. Lyraya bit her lip. There's only one way to stop that. You have to activate the final protocol. Jack stepped forward. What is it? She looked away. It turns you into part of the system. Your mind links directly to the mechanism, but it's dangerous. You might lose yourself. He went silent. Then he said, if it gives us a chance to fight back, I'll do it. He walked to the center. No. Lee Raya called out. Jack. He looked back, smiling gently. I'm not just some guy with tools anymore. Then he placed both hands on the core. A wave of light exploded across the ruins, through the towers, into the sky. Every satellite, every turret, every vault door listened. Jack's voice echoed, not from his mouth, but from every speaker, every device. Planetary defense is now active. I see everything. I'm ready. But in the sky, the hollow ship opened like a flower, and from within, something much worse was coming. The human key the sky tore open. From the heart of the hollow ship, a new shape emerged, massive, coiled, and alive. It wasn't a ship. It was a creature, a biomechanical titan, covered in armor and cables, shaped like a serpent with wings of fire. Red eyes blinked across its body. Every beat of its wings shook the sky. Every breath carried the sound of a dying star. This was the true weapon of the Hollow. Empire. It had one purpose: erase the world below. Jack's voice echoed through the planetary network. Target locked, all defense systems ready. Inside the vault, Jack stood frozen in the center of the glowing mechanism. His eyes were closed, his body still, but his mind stretched across the planet. He could feel the towers charging, the shields tightening, the sky batteries preparing to fire. Lyraya stood by, guarding him, watching the screen. The hollow titan spread its wings and screamed. The countdown began. Above the surface, ancient towers pulsed. Beams of white energy connected from one to another, forming a protective dome over the city. Floating cannons rose from the earth, spinning and locking onto the target. But the titan didn't wait. It launched a pulse black energy, fast and hungry. The planetary shield absorbed it, but cracked. One more hit, and it would fail. Jack's voice returned, straining, urgent. I can't hold it much longer. The system needs a final command from you. Lyraya blinked. Me? The Guardian commands, but the witness decides. The Vault's AI spoke. Protocol requires confirmation. Will you trust the human completely? Lyraya stared at Jack. She thought of the moment she mocked him, the first time she laughed at his simple tools. How little she believed in him, and now her entire world was in his hands. She stepped forward and placed her hand on the final console. I trust him, she said. I trust Jack Harper. Above, the defense system glowed blinding white. Towers fired in unison. Energy beams curved through the sky, cutting through the hollow titan's wings. The creature shrieked, spiraled, and dove. Jack focused, pushing his mind to the limit. The vault connected directly to the old orbital cannon one buried in the moon's surface. It activated for the first time in 3,000 years. Final shot charging. The titan slammed into the shield. It cracked again. One more second. Lyraya gripped the console, yelling, Now, Jack! The moon flashed. A beam of pure light shot down from space, piercing the sky, cutting through clouds, striking the hollow titan in the chest. It stopped midair. For a moment, time held still. Then explosion. The titan erupted in light and metal and sound, vanishing in the blaze. The hollow ship began to retreat, damaged and leaderless. The skies cleared. Silence returned. Deep in the vault, the light around Jack faded. He fell forward. Lyraya caught him. Jack? She whispered. His eyes fluttered open. He smiled. You didn't let me crash the planet, he joked. Lyraya laughed. She didn't mock. She didn't question. She simply said, You saved us. Days later, the alien council gathered. The ancient mechanism was now awake. New defenses were built. But more important than any of that, something had changed in their hearts. They no longer saw humans as weak or simple. They saw them as essential. As the sun rose over the ruins, Lariah stood beside Jack on a hilltop. "What will you do now?" she asked. Jack looked at the stars. "There are more vaults out there, more secrets, more threats, and I think they're waiting for me," she smiled. "Then I'll go with you." Jack turned to her. "Really?" she shrugged. "Someone has to keep you from poking the wrong buttons." They both laughed. Above them, the stars blinked, quiet, ancient, and full of possibilities. Because now, across the galaxy, the humans had returned.